ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु. So I would like your opinions, Prabhu, before I start. You can unmute and participate a little bit in the discussion. That would be great. So,
Yes, Prabhuji.
so regarding this session, we will be, as I posted, Monday to Friday we will be doing half an hour, 8 to 8:30 to 9, and on Friday and on Saturday we will be doing 1 hour, 8:30 to 9:30. So, do you think that will be okay? Because on Sunday, like Sunday also you can do 1 hour, but some of the devotees will be working, right? So they have to prepare for the next day. So that's why I kept it short. What do you think? Should we keep on Sunday also 1 hour?
I think this should be good, Prabhuji. Sunday, this will be.
Sunday half an hour.
Yeah, I mean, what other devotees say, I'm okay with it.
Okay, Prabhu.
Sunday half an hour better.
Sunday afternoon we have class,
No,
right?
Sunday half an hour.
Half an hour? Yeah.
Sunday 8:30 to 9, half an hour.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or like 8:30 to 9:30, it will be 1 hour. Now what I thought is some devotees will be, they have to prepare for Monday, right?
Half an hour should be fine, Prabhu.
Okay. Like we have to have a consistent model so that it will go longer, rather than taking too much of time on the beginning and then later neglecting. We'll read regularly so that we can be in touch with Prabhupada books regularly without failing. That's our attempt.
So for me, Prabhu, I think during the weekdays I have seva for 3 days, so I may be missing. But I don't want other people to kind of change the schedule.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you are going to miss, then like every day we will be posting what we have covered on that day. So by next class or next session before you join, it is better that you cover up all the sessions.
Okay.
By yourself, because it's only half an hour, right? You may find time anywhere, like when your seva is done or before going to bed or sometime. If you can cover up that portion, it serves as a it's a meter, like as a scale. If you are catching up, how is our reading, like that. Even if it is like rupee by rupee we accumulate, by Prabhupada says after some time it will be a lump sum amount, right? So even though if you read half an hour daily regularly, it will, by the end of some time we will be going through a lot of books also, a lot of Bhagavad Gita also will be covering Bhagavad Gita, and books like Bhagavatam will be covering a lot. So like covering short and also that's very good too also. That's what I feel.
Yes, Prabhu.
So if because of any reason, if anybody misses some portion, then they have to cover it up by the next by before joining the next class. That would be their personal target, so that they can catch up and they can again join another time. So we'll be discussing for half an hour, Prabhu, and like if anybody have anything to discuss, like if anybody understand if anybody needs more clarification on any of the point, we have to we can discuss after 9 o'clock, 9 to 9:15 or something like that, 9:30. That is up to them. But official time is 8:30 to 9 in the on the Monday to uh, Sunday, Friday, sorry, Sunday to Friday, and Sunday to Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, it is 1 hour. That would be so that you can be not too stressful also at the same time. You also read also without failing.
Sounds good, Prabhu.
And so basically, this idea I got from Vidyapit, where I did a 2 years course there. In Vidyapit, what they used to do is they used to cover class in the morning from 10 to 9:30 to 1, and in the afternoon they afternoon till evening we have to read all that portion that is covered. Means so like in the initial days it would be more kind of we are motivated, we had the interest to read, so we used to sit either together or alone and read. But or like it's a 2 year course, right? So after a few months what happened is whoever was reading alone, they were not able to themselves get motivated to read regularly. Reading regularly from from afternoon to 2 o'clock to until evening 6 o'clock is not a uh, like we found it difficulty. So what we did, we sat in a group and we read together. So one person will read one word and its translation and purport, and other person will read one word and his translation and purport. So we read in a circle so that everybody is involved and everybody is participating. So that way we will be able to cover the all Prabhupada books without without missing them. Okay, so yeah, that is what. And like, are you okay now, bro? Is something like, bro? Is it sounds okay
Yeah,
for you?
yeah. Good, Prabhu.
So, and
Yep, Prabhu.
but some devotees, when they join, in some circumstances they may not be able to read because they may not be in a condition to read. So like what we'll do, like they can in a chart they can notify or like like maybe me, I'll be coordinating, or I will assign somebody, like if I have to miss due to any class or any session, I'll assign somebody to go through that session. So that person, like that devotee will be coordinating, and for him, the host, you can actually like you can say like I may not be available like that. So I'll read one word and then say then if I see Ansunita Prabhu's name here and after Kiriti Prabhu's name, then will assign after one word, like after one word like that. Like if sometimes if once doesn't have any purport, he read words and translation, and then until he get a new purport, he will read through it so that it won't be too short for him also. So that way we will like it will be theoretical when I speak like this, but when we kept into implementation, then it will be good. Like we'll read and then we can also follow, and we can also while the other person is reading, we have to go through our actually that hard copy books, not on the electronic screens. I just kept it so that it will be good, while discussing the about this sessions. So, but it is advisable not to read on the electronic screen because it's night time. It is we are doing it just before going to bed, right? So, like we better read on the hard copied books, Bhagavad Gita book versions, and then we can make some markings and we can do so that uh, we'll have a feeling that we are reading. If we read on electronic copies, if you want to refer back, we have to know we'll be lost. We cannot figure it out where we read and what is the point that striked us more. But it is better, to underline or keep a mark whatever the point that is very interesting for us. That will be helpful for preaching or recalling or referring back like that. That needs to be discussed like that. So we'll be discussing from 8:30 to 9, and at 9 o'clock, if anybody have anything, anything that they would like to uh, discuss, then they can discuss that time. If nobody doesn't have, if nobody has anything, then we can end the call. Then end it.
Okay.
So, what do you think, bro? Which book with what shall we start? Bhagavad Gita or Krishna book or any other books, or because all of them are devotees, so
What is Prabhupada's instruction, Prabhu? What book he asked us to read first?
you should tell, bro. No, he told to read Bhagavad Gita first, then Bhagavatam, then Charitamrita, right?
Yeah, so I think we can start with the Bhagavad Gita if everyone agrees.
Okay, bro.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay, we'll start with Bhagavad Gita, and then we'll continue like how much we can cover today, and then continue from next tomorrow onwards. Probably. So, Hamsanidhara, would you like to start? I already completed until the Mangalacharan, and then you can start from Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. From that line, you can start in the introduction.
Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. It is the essence of Vedic knowledge and one of the most important Upanishads in Vedic literature. Of course, there are many commentaries in English on the Bhagavad Gita, and one may question the necessity for another one. This present edition can be explained in the following way. Recently, an American lady asked me to recommend an English translation of Bhagavad Gita. Of course, in America, there are so many editions of Bhagavad Gita available in English, but as far as I have seen, not only in America but also in India, none of them can be strictly said to be authoritative because in almost every one of them, the commentator has expressed his own opinions without touching the spirit of Bhagavad Gita as it is. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita itself. Prabhuji, please stop me when my time is up. Okay.
Yeah,
So I will keep.
you can read through one page, bro.
Okay. It is just like this. If we want to take a particular medicine, then we have to follow the directions written on the label. We cannot take the medicine according to our own whim or the direction of a friend. It must be taken according to the directions on the label or the directions given by the physician. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita should be taken or accepted as it is directed by the speaker himself. The speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Sri Krishna. He is mentioned on every page of Bhagavad Gita as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. Of course, the word Bhagavan sometimes refers to any powerful person or any powerful demigod, and certainly here, Bhagavan designates Lord Sri Krishna as a great personality. But at the same time, we should know that Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as is confirmed by all great acharyas, spiritual masters like Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarka Swami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and many other authorities of Vedic knowledge in India. The Lord himself also establishes himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Bhagavad Gita, and he is accepted as such in the Brahma Samhita and all the Puranas, especially Srimad Bhagavatam, known as Bhagavat Purana. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Therefore, we should take Bhagavad Gita as it is directed by the personality of Godhead himself. In the 4th chapter of Gita, the Lord says, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manave pratha manur ikshvake bravit. Evam parampara praptam imam rajasyo vidu sakalena mahata yoganascha pranatapa. Sa evyam mayatedya yoga prokta pura paratana bhaktosi mi saka seti rahasyam hi etad uttama. Here the Lord informs Arjuna that this system of yoga, the Bhagavad Gita, was first spoken to the sun god, and the sun god explained it to Manu, and Manu explained it to Ikshvaku, and in that way, by disciplic succession, one speaker after another, this yoga system has been coming down. But in the course of time, it has almost lost. Consequently, the Lord has to speak it again, this time to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So I will turn it over to you, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. So here, he, I will continue. He tells Arjuna that he is relating the scripture, supreme secret. He is relating the supreme secret to him because Arjuna is his devotee and his friend. The purport of this, is that Bhagavad Gita is a treatise which is especially meant for the devotees of the Lord. There are three classes of transcendentalists, namely Jnani, Yogi, and Bhakta, or the impersonalist, the meditator, and the devotee. Here the Lord clearly tells Arjuna that he is making him as the first receiver of new parampara, disciplic succession, because the old succession was broken. It was the Lord's wish, therefore, to establish another parampara in the same line of thought that was coming down from the sun god to others, and it was his wish that his teachings be anew distributed anew by Arjuna. He wanted Arjuna to become the authority in understanding Bhagavad Gita. So we we see that Bhagavad Gita is instructed to Arjuna especially because Arjuna was a devotee of the Lord, a direct student of Krishna, and his intimate friend. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is best understood by a person who has qualities similar to Arjuna's. That is to say, he must be a devotee in direct relationship with the Lord. As soon as one becomes a devotee of the Lord, he also has a direct relationship with the Lord. As soon as one becomes a devotee of the Lord, he also has a direct relationship with the Lord. That is very elaborate subject matter. But briefly, it can be stated that devotee is in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in one of the 5 different ways. One may be a devotee in a passive state, one may be a devotee in an active state, one may be a devotee as a friend, one may be devotee as a parent, one may be devotee as a conjugal lover. Arjuna was in relationship with the Lord as a friend. Of course, there is a gulf of difference between the friendship and the friendship found in the material world. This transcendental friendship, which cannot be which cannot be had by everyone. Of course, everyone has a particular relationship with the Lord, and that relationship is evoked by perfection of devotional service. But in present status of life, not only have we forgotten the Supreme Lord, but we have forgotten our eternal relationship with the Lord. Every living being out of many billions and trillions of living beings has particular relationship with the Lord eternally. This is called Swarupa. By the process of devotional service, one can revive that Swarupa. And, and that stage is called Swarupa Siddhi. I'm just underlining this thing. The perfection of one's constitutional position. So Arjuna was a devotee and he was in touch with the Supreme Lord in friendship. How Arjuna accepted this Bhagavad Gita should be noted. How Arjuna accepted this Bhagavad Gita should be noted. His manner of acceptance is given in the 10th chapter, 10.12 to 14. Arjuna Uvacha Parabrahma Parandama Pavitram Bhava Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhu Ahust Ahust Ahustvam Ahustvam Sarve Devarshirnaradastata Asito Devala Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Bravishime Sarvam Etat Ritam Manye Yanmana Yanmam Yanmam Vada Shikeshava Nahite Bhagavan Vyaktim Vidur Vidur Deva Nadhanava. Arjuna said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest and the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa confirm this truth about you. And now you yourself are declaring to me, O Krishna, I totally accept this as truth, all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand you personally. Your personality, understand your personality." After hearing Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna accepted Krishna as Param Brahma, the Supreme Brahman. Every living being is Brahman, but the Supreme Living Being or the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Supreme Brahman. Param Dhamma means that he is the supreme rest of he is the supreme rest or the abode of everything. Pavitra means he is the pure, untainted by material contamination. Purusha means he is the supreme enjoyer. Shashvatam, eternal. Divyam, transcendental. Adi Devam, the original personality of Godhead. Ajam, the unborn. And Vibhum, the greatest. Now, one may think that because Krishna was a friend of Arjuna, Arjuna was telling him all this by his by the way of flattery. But Arjuna is just to Arjuna Arjuna, just to drive out the kind of doubt from the minds of the readers of Bhagavad Gita, substantiate these praises in the next verse when he says that Krishna is accepted as the Supreme Personality of God not only by himself but by the authorities like Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasadeva. These are greatest personalities who distribute the Vedic knowledge as it is accepted by all the acharyas. Therefore, Arjuna tells Krishna that he accepts whatever he says to be completely perfect. Sarvam etat ritim manye. I accept everything you said to be true. Arjuna also says that the personality of the Lord is very difficult to understand and that he cannot be known even by the great demigods. This means that the Lord cannot be even known by the personalities greater than the human beings. So, how can a human being understand Lord Sri Krishna without becoming his devotee? Therefore, Bhagavad Gita should be taken in the spirit of devotion. One should not think that he is equal to Krishna, nor should he think that Krishna is an ordinary personality, or even a very great personality. Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So, according to the statement of Bhagavad Gita or the statement of Arjuna, the person who is trying to understand Bhagavad Gita, who should at least theoretically accept Sri Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. And with this submissive spirit, we can understand the Bhagavad Gita. Unless one reads the Bhagavad Gita in a submissive spirit, It is very difficult to understand Bhagavad Gita because it is the greatest mystery. It is a greatest mystery. Kiriti Prabhu would like to continue.
Prabhuji, I'm having prasad. If
Okay.
that's okay, if any other Prabhuji
Okay.
can continue.
Okay. Ansanita Prabhu, మీరు కంటిన్యూ చేస్తారా?
I can read.
Yeah, you read.
Just what is Hare Krishna to all devotees. Yeah, I'm starting Prabhu.
Yeah, yeah, start.
Hare Krishna, Ram Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all the best.
No, no,
Hare
you should
Krishna.
not like. It is better not to do this pranams. We do in the beginning and then you start to.
Okay, okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Just what is the Bhagavad Gita? The purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to deliver mankind from the nuisance of material existence. Every man is in difficulty in so many ways. As Arjuna also was in difficulty in having to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. Arjuna surrendered unto Sri Krishna and consequently this Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Not only Arjuna but every one of us is full of anxiety because of this material existence. Our very existence is in the atmosphere of non existence. Actually, we are not meant to be threatened by non existence. Our existence is eternal. Because somehow or other we are put into asat. Asat refer to that which does not exist. Out of so many human beings who are suffering, there are a few who are actually inquiring about their position as to what they are, why they are put in into this awkward position, and so on. Unless one is awakened to this position of questioning his suffering, unless he realizes that he doesn't want suffering but rather wants to make a solution to all suffering, then one is not to be considered a perfect human being. Humanity being when this sort of inquiry is awakened in one's mind. In the Brahma Sutra, this inquiry is called Brahma Jigyasa. Uh, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Every activity of human being is to be considered a failure unless he inquires about the nature of the absolute. Therefore, those who begin to question why they are suffering or where they came from and where they shall go after that are prosper students for understanding Bhagavad Gita. Proper students for understanding Bhagavad Gita. The sincere students should also have a firm respect for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a student was Arjuna. Lord Krishna descended specifically to re-establish the real purpose of life when man forgets that purpose. Even then, out of many human beings who awakens, there may be one who actually enters the spirit of understanding his position, and for him, this Bhagavad Gita is spoken. Actually, we are all swallowed by the tigress of nuisance, but the Lord is very merciful upon living entities, especially human beings. To this end, he spoke the Bhagavad Gita, making his friend Arjuna his student. Being an associate of Lord Krishna, Arjuna was above all ignorance, but Arjuna was put into ignorance on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just to question Lord Krishna about the problems of life so that the Lord could explain them for the benefits of future generation of human beings and chalk out the plan of life. Then man could act accordingly and perfect the mission of human life. The subject of the Bhagavad Gita entails the comprehension of five basic truths. First of all, the science of God is explained, and then the constitutional position of the living entities, jivas. There is Ishvara, which means the controller, and there are jivas, the living entities which are controlled. If a living entity says that he is not controlled but that he is free, then he is insane. The living being is controlled in every respect, at least in his conditioned life. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, the subject matter deals with the Ishvara, the supreme controller, and the Jiva, the controlled living entities. Prakriti, material nature, and time, the duration of existence of the whole universe and the manifestation of material nature, and karma, activity, are also discussed. The cosmic manifestation is full of different activities. All living entities are engaged in different activities. From Bhagavad Gita, we must learn what God is, what the living entities are, what Prakriti is, what the cosmic manifestation is, how it is controlled by time, and what the activities of the living entities are. Out of these five basic subject matters in Bhagavad Gita, it is established that the Supreme Godhead, or Krishna, or Brahman, or the Supreme Controller, or Paratma, or Paramatma, you may use whatever name you like, is the greatest of all. The living beings are in quality like the Supreme Controller. For instance, the Lord has control over the universal affairs of material nature, as will be explained in the later chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Material nature is not independent. She is acting under the direction of the Supreme Lord. As Lord Krishna says, Maya Dhyakshena Prakrit Suyate Sa Chara Charam. This material nature is working under my direction. When we see wonderful things happening in the cosmic nature, we should know that behind this cosmic manifestation there is a controller. Nothing could be manifested without being controlled. It, it is childish not to consider the controller. For instance, a child may think that an automobile is quite wonderful to be able to run without a horse or other animal pulling it. But a sane man knows the nature of the automobile's engineering arrangement. He always knows that behind the machinery there is a man, a driver. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the driver under whose direction everything is working. Now the jivas, or the living entities, have been accepted by the Lord, as we will note in the later chapters, as his part and parcel. A particle of gold is also gold. A drop of water from the ocean is also salty. And similarly, we, the living entities, being part and parcel of the Supreme Controller Ishvara or Bhagavan, Lord Sri Krishna, have all the qualities of the Supreme Lord in minute quantity. But we are minute Ishvara, subordinate Ishvaras. We are trying to control nature, as presently we are trying to control space or planets. And this tendency to control is there because it is in Krishna. But although we have a tendency to lord it over material nature, we should know that we are not the supreme controller. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, Rob.
Now, okay,
Sanitha, would you like to do?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. What is material nature? This is also explained in the Gita as inferior prakriti, inferior nature. The living entity is explained as the superior prakriti. Prakriti is always under control, whether inferior or superior. Prakriti is female and she is controlled by the Lord. just as the activities of a wife are controlled by the husband. Prakriti is always subordinate, predominated by the Lord, who is the predominator. The living entities and the material nature are both predominated, controlled by the Supreme Lord. According to the Gita, the living entities, although parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, are to be considered Prakriti. This is clearly mentioned in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Apareyam itas itastve anyam prakrutim vidhime pramal jiva bhutam. This material nature is my inferior Prakriti, but beyond this is another Prakriti, Jiva Bhutam, the living entities. Material nature itself is constituted by three qualities: the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. Above these modes, there is eternal time, and by the combination of these modes of material nature and under the control and purview of eternal time, there are activities which are called karma. These activities are being carried out from the time immemorial, and we are suffering or enjoying the fruits of our activities. For instance, suppose I am a businessman and have worked very hard with intelligence and have amassed a great bank balance. Then I am an enjoyer. But then, say I have lost all my money in business, then I am a sufferer. Similarly, in every field of life, we enjoy the results of our work or we suffer the results. This is called karma. Iswara, the Supreme Lord, Jiva, the living entities, Prakriti, nature, Kala, eternal time, and karma, activity, are all explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Out of these five, the Lord, the living entities, material nature, and time are eternal. The manifestation of Prakriti may be temporary, but it is not false. Some philosophers say that the manifestation of material nature is false. But according to the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, or according to the philosophy of the Vaishnavas, this is not so. The manifestation of the world is not accepted as false. It is accepted as real, but temporary. It is likened unto a cloud which moves across the sky at the coming of the rainy season, which nourishes grains. As soon as the rainy season is over, and as soon as the cloud goes away, all the crops which were nourished by the rain dry up. Similarly, this material manifestation takes place at a certain interval, stays for a while, and then disappears. Such are the workings of Prakriti. But this cycle is working eternally. Therefore, Prakriti is eternal. It is not false. The Lord refers to this as my Prakriti. This material nature is the separated energy of the Supreme Lord, and similarly, the living entities are also the energy of the Supreme Lord, although they are not separated but eternally related. So the Lord, the living entity, the material nature, and time are all interrelated and are all eternal. However, the other item, karma, is not eternal. The effects of karma may be very old indeed. We are suffering or enjoying the results of our activities from time immemorial, but we can change the results of our karma or our activity, and this change depends on the perfection of our knowledge. We are engaged in various activities. Undoubtedly, we do not know what sort of activities we should adopt to gain relief from the actions and reactions of all these activities. But this is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita. The position of Iswara, the Supreme Lord, is that of supreme consciousness. The jivas, or the living entities, being parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, are also conscious. Both the living entity and the material nature are explained as Prakriti, the energy of the Supreme Lord. But one of the two, the jiva, is conscious. The other, Prakriti, is not conscious. That is the difference. Therefore, the Jiva Prakriti is called superior because the Jiva has consciousness which is similar to the Lord. The Lord is supreme consciousness. However, and one should not claim that the Jiva, the living entity, is also supremely conscious. The living entity, the living being, cannot be supremely conscious at any stage of his perfection. And the theory that he can be so is misleading, is a misleading theory. Conscious he may be, but he is not perfectly or supremely conscious. The distinction between the Jiva and the Iswara will be explained in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The Lord is Kshetrajna, conscious, as is the living being, but the living being is conscious of his particular body, whereas the Lord is conscious of all bodies. Because he lives in the heart of every living being, he is conscious of the psychic movements of the particular jivas. We should not forget this. It is also explained that the Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is living in everyone's heart as Isvara, as the controller, and that he is giving directions for the living entity to act as he desires. The living entity forgets what to do. First of all, he makes a determination to act in a certain way, and then he is entangled in the actions and reactions of his own karma. After giving up one type of body, he enters another type of body as we take off and put on clothes. As the soul thus migrates, he suffers the actions and reactions of his past activities. These activities can be changed when the living being is in the mode of goodness, insanity, and understands what sort of activities he should adapt. If he does so, then all the actions and reactions of his past activities can be changed. Consequently, karma is not eternal. Therefore, we stated that the five items, Isvara, Jiva, Prakriti, time, and karma, four are eternal, whereas karma is not eternal. You want
Yes,
to take
yes,
it?
yes, Raj. So the supreme conscious jiva, sorry, the supreme conscious Ishvara is similar to the living entity in this way. Both the consciousness of the Lord and that of the living entities are transcendental. It is not that consciousness is generated by the association of the matter. This is a mistake. This is a mistaken idea. The theory of that consciousness develops under the certain circumstances of material combination is not accepted in the Bhagavad Gita. The consciousness may be pervertedly reflected by the covering of the material circumstances, just as the light reflected through the colored glass may appear to be a certain color, but the consciousness of the Lord is not materially affected. The Lord says, Maya Dakshina Prakriti. When he descends into the material universe, his consciousness is not materially affected. If he were so affected, he would be unfit to speak of the transcendental matters as he does in Bhagavad Gita. One cannot say anything about transcendental world without being freed from materially contaminated consciousness. So the Lord is not materially contaminated. Our consciousness at present moment, however, is materially contaminated. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that we have to purify this materially contaminated consciousness. In the pure consciousness, our actions will be dovetailed to the will of the Ishvara, and this will make us happy. It is not that we have to cease all activities. All, rather our activities are to be purified, and purified activities are called bhakti. According to the activities in bhakti, appears to be like ordinary activities, but they are not contaminated. An ignorant person may see the devotee is acting or working like an ordinary man, but such a person with poor fund of knowledge does not know that the activities of a devotee or of the Lord are not contaminated by impure consciousness of or impure consciousness or matter. Sorry. They are transcendental to the three modes of nature. We should know, however, that at this point our consciousness is contaminated. When we are materially contaminated, we are called conditioned. False consciousness is exhibited under the impression that I am the product of material nature. This is called a false ego. One who is absorbed in thoughtful or absorbed in the thought of bodily conception or conceptions cannot understand his situation. Bhagavad Gita was spoken to liberate one from bodily conception of life, and Arjuna put himself in the position in order to receive this information from the Lord. One must become free from the bodily conception of life. This is the primary activity of the transcendentalist. One who wants to become free, who wants to become liberated, must first learn that he is not this material body. Mukti or liberation means freedom from material consciousness. In Srimad Bhagavatam also in the Srimad Bhagavatam also the definition of liberation is given. Muktir hitva muktir hitvanya muktir hitvanyata rupam swarupena vyavasthitam. Mukti means liberation from the contaminated consciousness of the material world and situation in pure consciousness. All the instructions of Bhagavad Gita are intended to awaken this pure consciousness, and therefore we find at the last stage of Gita's instruction that Lord Krishna is asking Arjuna whether he is now in purified consciousness. Purified consciousness means acting in accordance with the instructions of the Lord. This is the wholesome and substance of the purified consciousness. The consciousness is already there because we are part and parcel of the Lord. But for us, there is the affinity of being affected by the inferior modes. But Lord, the being the supreme, is never affected. That is the difference between the supreme Lord and the small individual souls. What is the consciousness? This consciousness is I am. Then what is am? Am I? What am I? In the contaminated consciousness, am means I am the Lord of all I survey. I am the enjoyer. In the world revolves because every living being thinks that he is the Lord and the creator of the material world. Material consciousness has two psychic divisions. One is that I am the creator, and the other is that I am the enjoyer. But actually, the Supreme Lord is both the creator and the enjoyer. And the living entity, being the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is neither the creator nor the enjoyer, but a cooperator. He is the created and the enjoyed. For instance, a part of machine cooperates with the whole machine. A part of body cooperates with whole body. The hands and legs and eyes, hands, legs, eyes, and so on are all parts of the body, but they are not actually the enjoyers. The stomach is the enjoyer. The legs move, hands supply food, and teeth chew, and all other parts of the body are engaged in satisfying the stomach because stomach is the principal factor that nourishes the body's organization. Therefore, everything is everything is given to the stomach. One nourishes the tree by watering its roots, and one nourishes the body by feeding the stomach. For if the body is to be kept in a healthy state, then the parts of the body must cooperate to feed the stomach. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the enjoyer and creator, and we, as a subordinate living beings, are meant to cooperate the meant are meant to cooperate the are meant to cooperate to satisfy him. Sorry. This cooperation will actually help us just as food taken by the stomach will help all other parts of the body. If the fingers of the hand think that they should take the food themselves instead of giving to the stomach, then they will be frustrated. The central figure of the creation and the enjoyment is the Supreme Lord and the Creator, Supreme Lord, and the living entities are the cooperators by cooperation. Cooperates by cooperation they enjoy this relationship. This relation is like that of the master and the servant. If the master is fully satisfied, then the servant is satisfied. Similarly, the Supreme Lord should be satisfied. Although the tendency to become the creator and the tendency to enjoy the material world is also there, the tendency to become the creator and the tendency to enjoy the material world are there also in the living entities, because these tendencies are there in the Supreme Lord who has created the manifested cosmic world. Ramakrishna Prabhu, you want to continue?
Yes, please.
You have 4 minutes, okay?
Yeah, okay,
Oth-
Prabhu.
Otherwise, we'll do next week. I mean, not tomorrow.
I can read two paragraphs, Prabhuji.
No, I'll actually, yeah, you can read. Yeah, read them.
Uh, we shall find, therefore, in this Bhagavad Gita that the complete whole is comprised of the Supreme Controller, the controlled living entities, the cosmic manifestation, eternal time, and karma, or activities, and all of these are explained in this text. All of these taken completely form the complete whole, and the complete whole is called the Supreme Absolute Truth. The complete whole and the complete absolute truth are the complete personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. All manifestations are due to his different energies. He is the complete whole. It is also explained in the Gita that impersonal Brahman is also subordinate to the complete Supreme Person. Brahmano hi pratisthaham. Brahman is more explicitly explained in the Brahma Sutra to be like the rays of the sunshine. The impersonal Brahman is the shining ray of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Impersonal Brahman is incomplete realization of the absolute whole, and so also is the conception of Paramatma. In the 15th chapter, it shall be seen that the Supreme Personality of Godhead Purushottam is above both impersonal Brahman and the partial realization of Paramatma. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Satchit Anand Vigraha. The Brahma Samhita begins in the way Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitanand Vigraha Anandir Adhir Govinda Sarva Karanam. Govinda Krishna is the cause of all causes. He is the primal cause, and he is the very form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Impersonal Brahman realization is the realization of his Sat, eternity, eternity feature. Paramatma realization is the realization of such Satchit, eternal knowledge. But realization of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is realization of all the transcendental features, Satchit and Anand, eternity, knowledge, and bliss, in complete Vigraha form. Should I stop here, Prabhuji?
Actually, you can continue until the end of this era, so that we'll start from 13, page number 13.
Okay. People with less intelligence consider the supreme truth to be impersonal, but he is a transcendental person, and this is confirmed in all Vedic literature. Nityo Nityanand Chetana Chetananam Katha Upanishad 2.2.13. As we are all individual living beings and have our individuality, the Supreme Absolute Truth is also the ultimate realization of the personality of Godhead is realization of all the transcendental feature of his complete form. The complete whole is not a formless. If he is formless or if he is less than any other thing, then he cannot be the complete whole. The complete whole must have everything within our experience and beyond our experience. Otherwise, he cannot be complete.
Okay, let's
The
stop it here.
okay, Prabhu.
Grantha Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So
Jai.
the points I'll just summarize what we have discussed. So in the beginning of introduction, Prabhupada gives how to approach Bhagavad Gita. Means unless you accept Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead, even theoretically, you cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. You cannot approach Bhagavad Gita in a mood of a devotee like a Arjuna. And also he says he discusses about five topics. Like he says, what is discussed in Bhagavad Gita? There are five topics: Ishvara, Prakriti, Jiva, Kala, and Karma. And he nicely relates how they work each and like how Ishvara and only Jiva are conscious and others are Ishvara, Jiva, and Prakriti are conscious, and others are unconscious, and how the Prakriti is the inferior energy and and Jivas are superior energy. And he also describes about the difference between the Lord and the Jiva. So now here until here until page number until the portion that we covered, it is discussed so far. So how how all the jivas are part and parcel of Krishna, and how everybody should cooperate in rendering loving devotional service to Krishna. So that is discussed until this point of time. So we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for joining the session. Hare Krishna. Vancha
Thank you.
kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnaveshiyo
vaishnavebhyo namo
namo
namo.
namo.
Ananta Kota Vaishnava ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.